Hello everybody, welcome to another Battle Tanks League commentary. We have two Tinkers in the middle for the Light Force, Staycool and weaponh, both opening up with Tinker and with an energy torpedo. This can be problematic, especially if weaponh isn't paying attention. One more volley and You Matter to Me takes him down already. Weaponh was probably looking elsewhere because he did not react to that in time at all. Anyways, as I was saying, the two energy torpedoes might actually prove problematic for the Light Force, especially if they continue to get long-range weapons, because they can be easily countered by burst armor, and so that might happen. From players like Samael or You Matter to Me or whoever is going to accompany them. And weaponh dies once again. This time it's Samael hitting him twice with the bombard rockets that also has 1300 range and can two-shot a Tinker. Weaponh's tower is already down for the Light Force, so he is going to have to reset his position. One of the two Tinkers will almost certainly need to change out of Tinker at some point because two Tinkers really does not provide enough threat to the enemy tanks, and the benefits of having a ton of towers present, well, with two Tinkers, there's a greatly diminishing return on that, on the amount of protection and farming you can get out of Tinker towers. So weaponh will probably change tank soon, and then maybe Staycool will stay as a Tinker. We'll see what enemy does as well. He is the one also in the middle for the Light Force, and weaponh might go down. Pelmiene trying to hit him with the energy torpedo, nearly hits him twice. Enemy is also very low health. You Matter to Me trying to take him down with a static charge, but he is forced back. Speaking of Pelmiene and You Matter to Me, they are in the middle for the Dark Force, along with Samael. Samael is in a helicopter with a bombard rocket, so we have a lot of 1300 range just in this middle in general. And in fact, the only person without 1300 range is You Matter to Me, and he only has a basic magic. So actually, weaponh and Staycool, their towers might be pretty safe for now, because the 1300 range weapons only deal 10% damage to buildings, and that's there's an obvious balancing reason for that, and that's because they outrange the towers. The towers have 1050 range. Actually, this tower out of Staycool might go down as well. This Light Force really needs to start clearing out the creeps quickly. Speaking of clearing out creeps quickly, we have King, who is in a scout. The scout is exceptional at clearing out creeps quickly because it has the creep cannon, which does extra range and DPS over the normal tank cannon. That's allowing King to push on Todd. Todd is in a demolisher, which starts out with only a basic magic. Todd has already upgraded it to a basic magic upgrade, and but even still, he only does 171 DPS compared to King's 240. I can't do math. 234. The scout, I think the tooltip gives 60 extra DPS per tank cannon level, so it's inaccurate. weaponh went down a third time, and so he's going to change to a scout. The scout has about 650 health compared to just 250 for the Tinker, so he won't be nearly quite as vulnerable. And actually, this Dark Force is doing a very good job of taking out everybody's towers. weaponh, of course, disappeared his towers by changing to a scout, but Staycool's towers are also down, so he might change tank quickly as well. And in fact, You Matter to Me, if he has skilled his... Actually, he hasn't skilled his... static charge to level 2 yet because he used the W ability Shape Memory Alloy, but once he reaches level 5 he can actually one-shot Staycool with the Shape Memory, or with the the static charge. And so Staycool might just try to get a Tinker or a helicopter real quick. It looks like he's going to go back and get a helicopter and walk back to the middle, so he won't be present for some time. But yeah, this Light Force really has a botched opener so far. Two Tinkers really just kind of struggles most of the time. And weaponh did not help matters by dying so quickly so many times. Wasn't able to establish a good position at all. And then I'll get to the bottom right now. We have a Raider Mirror. We have WhatsReal on the Dark Force, who started out with a basic magic, and EMZE, who is in a Raider with a basic magic as well for the Light Force. And WhatsReal seems to be pushing on him a little bit. WhatsReal, I checked his stats, or Pelmiene checked his stats. He posted the game, and WhatsReal supposedly has only played 2 league games, but he won both of them, or he won one, lost one, but he had pretty good stats in both. So I wonder if this is a Smurf account, or maybe a player who hasn't played for a while but recently rejoined the league, because he is definitely playing a little bit more aggressively and more comfortably than a 1000 ELO player should. So we'll see how well he does against EMZE, who is a pretty decent lane player, not one of the best in the world, but he's very good. weaponh does get a kill. EMZE gets a kill on WhatsReal this time. Looks like WhatsReal overstayed his welcome in this offensive strategic location, so he did go down. And Todd is now pushing on Samael. Samael is going to change from scout to a helicopter. Or actually, no, Samael is in the middle. King is facing up against Todd. He goes and gets a hole that will provide him some extra protection. Todd does have some pretty aggressive abilities against this scout. He has the artillery shot, which does, I think, 240 damage, and also gives a stun. The shockwave is pretty good at clearing out creeps, and then, of course, he has the mines, which deal a lot of damage. He's trying to draw King into a mine right now, clears out the creeps around him. He actually might go for the kill. King, unfortunately, runs into the mine, so he might go down despite having a hole. No, he barely gets the final volley off on Todd, and so he is able to get that kill there. Looks like Staycool, yes, I mentioned he did change to a helicopter. He takes a big energy torpedo from Pelmiene, but he is able to escape. Meanwhile, Pelmiene dies to a triple rocket and a torpedo volley from weaponh. So now there are no more Tinkers in the game. We do have 2 scouts and a lot of 1300 range in the middle. So we'll see if either Samael or Pelmiene or You Matter to Me ends up trying to get a burst armor. It might actually be worthwhile, even if you have to end up just selling it later. It'll help you survive to 20-25 minutes without feeding too much. And it's always a useful item to have if you have the slots for it. EMZE and WhatsReal continuing to battle it out. WhatsReal going with an interesting move, getting a multi-bow and upgrading it. That's going to allow him to continue to push EMZE into his tower. However, EMZE, with 2 basic magics, he does have a lot more DPS against WhatsReal himself, and he's going for the kill here. He does use the shape memory alloy to heal up, but he's unable to quite finish off WhatsReal. Meanwhile, Samael getting a kill on Staycool. Ooh, weaponh barely surviving the torpedo hit from Pelmiene. Enemy trying to hit the plasma discharge on You Matter to Me. Both of them are going to go back and heal. Now, if you're something like a scout or a helicopter, even an anti-grav, though the enemy, interestingly, is going with the opposite of what I'm about to suggest, I would suggest getting an iron hull before getting a burst armor. If you already have a lot of hit points, like you're a raider, getting the burst armor is probably worthwhile, though you do see enemy's kind of borderline. He has 1500 health, so you can go either way. Enemy chose to get a burst armor rather than getting an iron hull. We'll see how it pays off for him. He was able to weather one energy torpedo shot earlier, but in this fight that just happened, skirmish that just happened right now, his burst armor only took out the volley of a bombard rocket, and then the torpedo hit for full damage, so it didn't do much right then. EMZE continuing to be aggressive against WhatsReal. WhatsReal is going to try to counter the aggression. He does have a static charge on EMZE, but EMZE is a little bit ahead, and he will be able to flee back to the command post. King does get 1 kill on Todd. King has changed to a helicopter, so he is no longer a scout. And if King is paying attention, he can keep track of where Todd is laying the mines. Unlike inventory mines, the Demolisher mines is an ability that costs mana, and so if King is paying attention to Todd, he can just see any time that Todd's mana drops and there's no visible abilities going off like the artillery shot or the shockwave, King will know that a mine was placed in that location, and if he has a chance, he can take out those mines one by one, or maybe even 2 or 3 at a time while Todd is away, and that way he can pretty much negate that entire skill of Todd's. King does reach level 7 slightly before Todd does, though considering King started out as a scout, it is impressive that Todd has been able to keep up with him in both creep farming and experience. King is trying to go after Todd, uses the Q ability on the helicopter, which is pretty interesting, does a little bit of damage to Todd, but not quite enough. And King has to be careful. If he runs into all 3 of these mines, he might go down. He has 1400 hit points. Actually, these might just be level 1 mines, so he might be able to weather them. But if he has to flee a fight with only 200 or 300 health, he will be in danger, and he will need to pay attention to his movement. Triple rockets from Staycool, or no, Samael on weapon H. Weapon H does move back, and now triple rockets from Staycool on Samael, who moves back himself. Todd has acquired a basic magic on top of the electro cannon. Trying to push forward a little bit, but King does have another basic magic himself. Todd has 4 mines clustered in this location. If King is paying attention, he will notice that Todd's mana did go down. But if King runs into 2 or 3 of these at once, he could be in danger. Samael with a second bombard rocket, so he is committing to the 1300 range. If I were Pelmiene, I would not get a second energy torpedo. I'd probably get something like an electro cannon, just because enemy has countered it with the burst armor. And you don't want too much 1300 range in the middle unless you can really capitalize on it before about 25 or 30 minutes, because once the mid-game tanks enter the game, 1300 range really becomes much less useful. WhatsReal gets an iron hull instead of going for a third weapon. He does have the multi-bow, which is very effective at farming creeps, so he can get by with just 2 weapon slots and farm up. We'll see what kind of weapon he gets next. I'd be interesting to see either of these players get a grenade launcher. That's a 750 range weapon that can be set to an air-only mode. EMZE going after WhatsReal. WhatsReal pressed a little bit too far forward. He probably forgot that EMZE does a lot more damage to him than he does back to EMZE. EMZE with 3 basic magics. King going after Todd. Can Todd draw him into the mines? King does have a little bit more speed. He's able to get the electro cannon volley off before he runs into the mines. So King with another kill. He is now at 4 kills to 1 on Todd, of all people. Todd is one of the better players, so, or at least he was last season, so that's pretty impressive out of King. See if King can get yet another kill. He does. So King really farming up on Todd. He is winning those fights by just a little bit, but if he wins 3 or 4 fights by just a little bit, that will provide him enough of an advantage over Todd that he can start winning those fights by more than a little bit in the future. This tower out of Weapon H is actually really effective. You can see, I think it took 3 or 4 bombard volleys and now 2 electro energy torpedo volleys, and it's still sitting there at 75% health. So this Stark Force, whenever that tower gets planted, they need to come within 900 range of it. Oh, enemy taking a lot of fire from 1300 range. Pelmiene has to be careful himself. I thought the triple rocket would hit Pelmiene. He would have died had it hit Pelmiene. Instead, Pelmiene actually survives long enough to get 1 final torpedo volley off on Staycool and get the kill. King yet another kill on Todd. He runs into a mine, but he tanks it. And then I think EMZE got a kill on WhatsReal once again. So EMZE so far having the advantage in this matchup. Let's see what WhatsReal does with his build. He definitely needs another weapon. Something like a light cannon would do well. Even the grenade launcher if he doesn't want to spend that much money. And then, yeah, this light force in the middle, they need kinetic shields, they need burst armors. As long as they don't feed in the first 20 minutes, this Stark Force has so much long range that they're not going to scale very well into the mid game. So this light force just needs to play it carefully. Don't be greedy, don't feed, and they'll actually have a pretty good advantage in the mid-game. You Matter to Me coming out with a very quick heavy tank. I don't know how effective that is going to be. He probably would have been better off waiting for 15 or even 17 minutes when he could be level 10. We'll see if he's able to snipe anybody with the aiming rocket. He is able to get enemy, and enemy's burst armor was used, so he took full damage from that. But You Matter to Me is a little bit of ways away from level 10, and if he doesn't have any farm, and he only has 500 gold at 15 minutes, he's not going to reach level 10 that quickly. So I actually think this was a suboptimal play out of him. Triple rockets hits Pelmiene's tower. I wonder if that was meant for Pelmiene. Staycool has suboptimally used a couple of those triple rockets already. Pelmiene really can't do anything about Weapon H's tower. He has the creep cannon, which can't hit buildings, and then the 2 energy torpedoes, which do 10% damage to buildings. So Weapon H trying to get those towers off as much as he can, just for the protection they provide. And then all of this light force needs to be very careful about You Matter to Me, because he can, at any point, he can provide a, I think, 900 damage heavy or aiming rocket. And so, unless you're enemy and you know your burst armor is on a off cooldown, be very careful trying to survive a fight with just a few hundred hit points. In fact, You Matter to Me tries to hit Weapon H with the aiming rocket. It's not quite enough. Looks like Todd finally got a kill on King. Todd does have an iron hole at this point, probably wise since he was dying a lot. And then WhatsReal still doesn't have any additional weapons. He is trying to save up for a tank. We'll see what he ends up getting. EMZE has 4 basic magics and an iron hole, so he's trying to just make WhatsReal as uncomfortable as possible. Let's see if EMZE can press his advantage and get any more kills. He hasn't gotten any kills in the last 5 minutes, I think. So if he wants to be effective with this build, he will have to really put some pressure on You Matter to Me, or on WhatsReal. As it is, he only has about a third of a level advantage over WhatsReal, though he does have 3 kills over him. Let's see if he can press that advantage. EMZE is pushing into the base. He is forced back. He will go and heal, but he'll be back. And enemy pushing a little bit far forward. He gets netted by Pelmiene. Let's see if they have any additional stuns. Enemy is going to withdraw using a jump. So no triple rocket, no aiming rocket from either of these players. I wonder if they were on cooldown. Both Todd and King are level 10. King can do a lot of damage from all 3 of his abilities that he has spec'd. But King does have to be very careful about pressing too far forward, because Todd does have the burning oil. And if King takes that and he's too far forward, he won't be able to flee into the command post soon enough. You Matter to Me gets a kill on enemy. I wonder if that was an aiming rocket snipe. You Matter to Me still only level 8 compared to, for example, Pelmiene, who's level 10, and Samael, who is actually a little bit behind as well, but You Matter to Me only just barely reached level 8, so he's not going to be really dangerous until level 10. And I think had he stayed with whatever tank he was, I already forgot, and saved up and just bought the heavy tank right about now, he would be very close to level 10. Looks like Staycool. I hope he doesn't buy another energy torpedo. It's a little bit late for that. He really just needs to save up for a tank. He's going to make himself far too vulnerable in between 20 and 25 minutes. If he tries to get more weapons, enemy's in trouble. Pelmiene gets the kill on Staycool. Weapon H went down. Enemy barely gets out of the way with a jump, able to get this healer, trying to clear out the creeps. He's still in a bit of trouble. Takes in triple rocket from Samael, and it's enough to get him down. And now You Matter to Me is sieging this tower with his mortar teams. Those look like only level 1 or level 2 mortar teams, so not very potent, but they are able to get 1 tower kill. And now Todd is applying the pressure to King. Pelmiene's going to come in. Let's see if he can get 2 volleys off on Todd. There are 2 Marines in the way, and he fires on both the Marines, so none of his shots hit Todd. Todd is able to flee. WhatsReal with 4,700 gold. EMZE with only 1,300 gold. And EMZE still hasn't gotten an additional kill on WhatsReal. And WhatsReal still only about a third of the level behind. So if he is able to get a very good tank that EMZE can't counter, he might. His strategy of getting the multi-bow and just taking the couple of deaths from EMZE might pay off in the mid-game. Enemy comes out with a guard. He probably should sell that burst armor on that guard and get a basic magic hit back. With 5150 hit points, the burst armor isn't nearly as urgent, but You Matter to Me is able to snipe Weapon H with the aiming rocket. Weapon H tried to flee back with a bit too few of hit points. And it looks like Staycool is wisely saving up for a tank rather than trying to buy a second energy torpedo. It's a little bit too late for that, and You Matter to Me, especially if he had optimized his build, he would definitely have a level 10 by now, and he'd be incredibly dangerous. King gets one more kill on Todd. Wonder if he just bought that kinetic shield and this is the first time he's using it, because he probably caught Todd off guard with that. I don't think Todd would take a fight that poorly, so poorly that King would survive with 2/3 of his health. Weapon H gets stunned again, gets netted, and he goes down. EMZE's going to come out with the Goblin Shredder from the bottom. He is able to get the unit teleport on You Matter to Me. Nobody else is in position to capitalize on it. So EMZE does waste a little bit of time teleporting. And Weapon H looks like he went to the bottom there. He might just try to farm up for a tank. Then again, he has the burst armor, which works a little bit better in the middle than it would on WhatsReal here. Unless his burst armor can trigger right as the hit and run applies. It's not going to be enough anyway, but Weapon H really doesn't have any gold, and he's still a scout at 21 minutes, so he's... WhatsReal might be able to get a tank and really apply some pressure here. WhatsReal instead going after Todd on the top. Todd does have 2-3 mines here, and Todd is able to use a repair pack and heal. WhatsReal does go down. I think Todd got a kill, maybe an assist kill with the mines, and then Todd is also able to kill King as he's killed. So Todd doing a little bit well while fleeing there. He still has 8 deaths, but now he has 6 kills, so he is making up for it a little bit now. And I think we're going to see our first Tier 3 tank. Pelmiene is sitting at the tank construction hall. He does get a Goblin Brawler. You Matter to Me with a siege pack on his heavy tank rather than a weapon. This is interesting. I don't think this is going to be very effective unless his team takes a command post. Really don't know what that's about. Staycool trying to go after Samael, hits him with the triple rocket. It's not going to be enough, and now Staycool is in trouble. Barely dodges the plasma discharge from Pelmiene, and he's going to barely be able to get out of there with 70 hit points. Samael himself will flee back to the command post. Samael would probably do well to get a hunter. That would synergize very well with both the heavy tank and the Goblin Brawler. He doesn't have quite enough gold for it. He might have to wait until 28 or 30 minutes to get the hunter, but it would do very well. Weapon H, meanwhile, still with almost 0 gold. Staycool with not that much gold himself. And then enemy has bought back his basic magics. But I think the Dark Force is a little bit wealthier in the middle right now, and it might translate into better tanks in the mid-game. Pelmiene going to try to go after Todd. Todd does have the repair. Can he get the plasma discharge off in time? Todd does a very good job of dodging it. And then he is able to get on the right side of the explosive brew. And then King takes a lot of damage actually trying to chase Todd. You Matter to Me and WhatsReal trying to go after EMZE. EMZE will be able to flee. You Matter to Me still isn't level 10. And he really needs weapons. He doesn't need a siege pack. And so he actually might die to EMZE here. He is going to get a weapon. Finally, a basic magic. But yeah, that was definitely a miss there with the siege pack. If it pays off, it's not going to pay off until or unless the Dark Force takes a command post. Weapon H takes the plasma discharge from Pelmiene, and Pelmiene trying to hit him with the explosive brew. Instead of moving Weapon H the full 400 range, it actually just traps Weapon H against this cliff here, so Weapon H is able to weather it out. Now Todd going after King. Todd is a little bit vulnerable here. Pelmiene's going to come in. Todd trying to hang around these Dark Force creeps so that the Dark Force gets the kill, but King is able to get the finishing blow, and Pelmiene with the assist. And now WhatsReal way out of position there. Pelmiene trying to save him with the plasma shield, but it's a little bit too late. EMZE putting a lot of pressure on this tower. Only 200 health left. And You Matter to Me does have a tech mech there to repair it, but he's going to have to hang out. And once again, he has almost no DPS against EMZE. EMZE still only with the basic magics, but he is able to get the kill on You Matter to Me. And he will be able to continue to apply pressure He'll be able to continue applying pressure to this tower. WhatsReal does come out with the Hunter. I wonder if they'll switch him to the middle then. Hunter with multi-bow, allowing it to farm. And he should probably switch to the middle, and maybe they'll bring You Matter to Me out to the lane, but You Matter to Me is going to lose that tower to EMZE because he has the siege pack and not a real weapon. Pelmiene going after Todd. He does get the kill. Samael needs to be careful in the midst of the Light Force creeps, and they do take him down. And they do move they do move WhatsReal into the middle. Let's see how he fares. He can snipe people down like Weapon H. Actually, at level 13, the level 5 main gun would be able to one-shot Weapon H at max range. But if Weapon H takes a little bit of damage, like from a gravity grenade just now, WhatsReal can snipe him down with a main gun, especially after the aiming rocket went down and they do get the kill. Enemy is giving him a lot of damage, and Samael might come in as well. Actually, Samael's for the Dark Force, so he's an ally. And they're barely able to get that kill. In theory, that should be a lot easier than that worked out to be. I wonder if You Matter to Me is level 10 yet. He finally reaches level 10, so he does get the potent Hail of Bombs ability. And this is pretty good middle combination, even with You Matter to Me or WhatsReal in the middle instead of Pelmiene. Pelmiene going to hang out on the side as the Goblin Brawler. He'll be good against EMZE. And You Matter to Me can initiate fights with the main gun, after which WhatsReal or Samael or Pelmiene or whoever else is present. They can follow it up with their abilities. WhatsReal can trap somebody else. One more time. Todd gets a kill on King, and Pelmiene trying to go after him, but Todd is fleeing too quickly. Todd with 5,000 gold himself, so he might come out with a tank at 30 minutes, maybe even 35 minutes if he tries to save all the way up for a Frost Robot. Looks like WhatsReal tried to fake the gravity grenade on Weapon H, and now he's going after enemy. They are able to get the kill. Staycool gets one hail of bombs off on WhatsReal, but it's not going to be enough. And then we have double ultimate abilities on the creep wave here, so double suboptimal play, but whatever. Pelmiene gets a kill on EMZE. That brawler is both good on the lane and in the middle. Weapon H still with not that much gold as a scout, and he's very vulnerable. Can he get gravity grenaded? Possibly. He has the acid cloud on him. Takes an aiming rocket. They're not going to finish him off unless they do it right now. And Weapon H does go down. Weapon H with 2 deaths, or 2 kills and 10 deaths, so he has not been doing well this game. And now enemy might take enough fire to be killed as well. They do get enemy. So Pelmiene might need to... Actually, Pelmiene's for the Dark Force, so even without Pelmiene, this Dark Force is getting kills in the middle. And You Matter to Me, anytime he is left alone, he can very quickly siege these towers. One more volley and it might go down. Enemy is able to get the kill on the mortar teams just in time. You Matter to Me trying to get the cheeky snipe of the rocket tower. There is a tech mech present, so it is repairing it. And then the hail of bombs doesn't quite reach it. But this middle tower might go down soon. And then they can bring Pelmiene, they can bring Well, King needs a tank. Only 4,000 gold out of him, but this middle command post will become vulnerable. More mortars planted, a little bit too close. They take an immediate volley from the rocket tower, and then Staycool completely misses his hail of bombs. This middle rocket tower finally goes down. Pelmiene's applying pressure to EMZE at the top. I wonder if he'll try to move to the middle now and they'll just push. Especially before Todd gets a tank. If King wants to tank up now, it's 30 minutes into the game, so now's a good time. Just push this middle. weaponh comes out with a sky tank. Not the tank you really want to see for somebody who saved up for 30 minutes, but it's better than the scout. Takes a couple of abilities. He's going to be able to escape. Both weaponh and Samael are vulnerable to nets if anybody wants to get one. Looks like You Matter to Me is going to try to hit this top tower here with his mortar teams. Hopefully he doesn't plant them too close. One mortar team already goes down, 2 down, 3 down. That was a fail. He needed to plant them farther back because that rocket tower just instantly killed them. It was a good attempt. Good intention, but intention doesn't count. Action does. WhatsReal with a teleporter on that hunter. That's an interesting build. They're going after this top tower here. They might get the tower down. You Matter to Me is going to die for it. And they don't quite get the tower. King changes to a sky tank. So if you're the light force, definitely invest in nets. It will work on both King and whoever else. I forget. Samael. Let's see if EMZE can chase down WhatsReal. WhatsReal does have the teleport. I think he's preparing to use it. You saw him pause there. Pelmiene going after this top tower. Those 2 energy torpedoes don't do much damage to it, but the weapon, or the flame strike, does, and in fact it's able to finish off enemy on top of the tower. I think You Matter to Me stepped too close to a rocket tower once again. He'll get the hang of it eventually, and then he'll actually be able to siege these towers, but I still think he would have been a lot better off just getting a weapon. Pelmiene going to hit the plasma discharge on both Staycool and enemy. That's going to deal a lot of damage. Where's the explosive brew? It didn't seem to go off. Let's see if a gravity grenade can happen. The explosive brew hits enemy, the gravity grenade hits weaponh, and they get the kill on both of them. And yeah, if you're the light force, you need to be very concerned about this middle, which is continuing to die to the dark force, and it might get pushed eventually. Staycool really needs some more DPS as well. Todd comes out with a demon tank. That should be useful in warding off this middle here, but he will need to get mobility on it, either in the form of upgraded speed or probably a teleporter. That will allow him to stay on the side and then hop into the middle when it is opportune to do so. Gravity grenade hits weaponh. He also gets hit by the plasma discharge. He's going to go down very quickly, but so might WhatsReal. WhatsReal able to teleport out at the last minute, also gets a helpful plasma shield from Pelmiene. And then Todd trying to do his best, but he's forced back eventually, taking too much damage. You Matter to Me does take down this top tower, but EMZE is going to punish him for it. EMZE still doesn't have any significant DPS. He gets the gold hole first. That will make him a lot more useful in these big team fights, but one-on-one against a tank, he might not be able to get very many kills. They're going to try to catch Weapon H again. He gets hit by the plasma discharge. That's going to prevent him from fleeing, though he is able to barely get inside of the command post and just hold still. Actually, he hops out and takes a little bit of damage on top of it, and so Weapon H does go down. Samael hits him with the energy bomb, I think, to get the final blow. And despite Todd teleporting in from the side, one person still goes down for this for the Light Force here. Dark Horse up 39 kills to 20. I still think, and I say it every game, if you're the Light Force, invest in some nets. Samael's a free kill if you have nets. King is an easy kill if you have nets, especially if you're Todd. Todd's a demon tank. He already has the banish on King. And King does not have a teleport. He does have a lot of speed, but no teleport. So nets, stuns, they will work on him. They're really trying to make this middle uncomfortable. Pelmiene already has an artillery. Let's see if they can get Weapon H again. WhatsReal trying to posture for it. Actually might have overstepped a little bit. Weapon H uses his Flame Strike. Doesn't hit anything except for a couple of creeps for 2/3 damage. Todd hops in from the side. Let's see if he can lava shot anybody. Again, nobody has nets. Nets would be very good. Enemy with an orbital strike on that guard, so if he catches people, that could be useful. Pelmiene is able to maintain an aggressive posture because he does have that charge, which can help him escape from a tight position if he needs to. EMZE finally gets a DPS weapon, just a nice cannon. Plasma discharge hits Staycool. Let's see if they can follow up. Staycool, it does survive. Weapon H gets hit with another gravity grenade, but Samael has to be careful. Weapon H was in a pretty safe position. Samael gets the kinetic shield, but he still goes down. Pelmiene's going to try to get in here as quickly as possible. Weapon H is going to flee back, but enemy is a little bit in trouble. Takes an energy shot, or an energy bomb from King, and then WhatsReal finishes him off. Pelmiene continuing to play aggressively, dealing a lot of damage to Staycool. He does have to go back and heal, though. Todd is going to try to get speed on his demon tank before getting the teleport. Trying to kill the creeps before the Light Force does. I think if the Light Force kills anything, only, I think it's like 30 or 40% of the gold actually goes to the players, so it's always better for a player to kill the creeps than for the Force troops to kill him. Weapon H is a little bit vulnerable. We can WhatsReal gravity grenade him. Instead, Samael is the one to overstep, and WhatsReal is a little bit late on the gravity grenade, and he himself gets rooted in orbital struck, and now King gets unit teleported by EMZE. He might be able to flee. Somebody plants a kinetic shield. King is going to go down. One more volley. Actually, he takes a plasma shield from Pelmiene. Pelmiene saves his life that way, and then he also puts the plasma discharge on Weapon H. Now Pelmiene's in the midst of this fight. Todd has a few hit points, but he is behind a lot of creeps, and now WhatsReal is trying to get out of the way. Pelmiene has to get out of the way himself. Looks like this fight's going to end pretty quickly. And then somebody needs to claim these creeps on this bottom lane here so that the Light Force doesn't kill them. Todd might be a good candidate. He could definitely use the gold, and EMZE is going to be the one to go out there. You matter to me a little bit vulnerable. He gets rooted and orbital strike, gets a plasma shield from Pelmiene. Not quite enough, but they will at least be able to kill enemy. Now, WhatsReal teleports in. That was kind of unwise since EMZE was right there. He used the unit teleport on him. Can WhatsReal get away? He has a plasma shield from Pelmiene. Now this middle is in trouble. Pelmiene does get a kill on Todd. Actually, Samael finishes the blow, and now Pelmiene's going to build in the middle. Staycool is going to go down, and they're going to take this middle. Excellent play there by the Dark Force. Everybody using their abilities wisely. I thought that aggressive teleport by WhatsReal was a bad idea, but he was actually able to get an excellent gravity grenade on pretty much the whole light force there. And all of a sudden, You Matter to Me and his mortar teams are going to make very quick work of this space. There's a lot of gold for the Light Force to earn, or for the Dark Force to earn from these towers here. And WhatsReal, it pretty much can keep 1 or 2 enemy players occupied just by hanging around this area. And anytime they leave them alone, even for 30 seconds, 1 or 2 towers are going to go down. So the Dark Force now with a considerable advantage over the Light Force. And they are definitely in position to start closing out this game already in 40 minutes. If you're the Light Force, what do you do from here? Well, you need to respond to this, but just try to get good trades until you can successfully take command posts back. And this is not good trades here. EMZE and Todd both going down. Enemy is able to get 1 build, but he's going to go down as well. He's not going to be enough by himself. And where are his teammates? Pink is going to teleport in. That's Staycool. Is it going to be enough? Enemy still has that barricade there that's taking a lot of damage from Pelmiene. EMZE comes in. weaponh comes in. They are going to be able to hold on to this. They do get 2 return kills. In the meantime, Samael taking out some of these towers. You Matter to Me as well, putting in a lot of work. Let's see if he gets an advanced troop command. He doesn't have the siege pack on him, so he might be upgrading it. It is an advanced troop command, which on top of spawning a bunch of troops besides the mortar teams, it has a shorter cooldown, 40 seconds instead of 50. So it will make him a lot more potent. And I think it also synergizes with You Matter to Me's own mortar team cooldown, which should also be 40 seconds. Meanwhile, WhatsReal and Pelmiene get 2 kills. You Matter to Me is going to try to take out enemies. Barricade enemy is able to build a rocket tower on top of it, but Samael gets an energy bomb off to kill him. Staycool misses. Actually, he barely hit the hail of bombs, but it's not going to be enough. 4 Dark Force towers or tanks are present to take this command post, and now the Light Force only has 1 command post yet left. Yeah, where was EMZE in that fight? I'm not sure. But this game might be over very quickly. The Light Force isn't able to get any good trades in team fights. They're trying to go after perhaps this rocket tower in the middle. EMZE's calling GG. Wonder if they'll give up at any point. Somebody uses an orbital strike. I wonder if that was just enemy. Yep. So game over. Pretty quick game, 42 minutes. So that's 2 quick games in a row that I've commentated on today. But the Dark Force definitely did a better job of using their abilities synergetically with each other. And that's how they were able to get very good trades. King also did very well going up against Todd in the lane, and so he was able to keep Todd from getting any sort of significant advantage that would help out his middle once his middle was getting pressed. And then weaponh died far too many times, even from the start of the game. So hopefully we'll get a long game at some point that is a little bit more interesting than one team just holding a constant advantage the whole game, but it is always fun to commentate these, so I'll be back soon. Titan Music out.